The distress beacon from Kepler 442b had been broadcasting for 72 standard hours when the first ship arrived. Ambassador Zixath of the Centaurian Coalition watched through the orbital station's viewport as the sleek vessel materialized. From hyperspace, not the reinforced hulls of their allied fleets, but something else entirely. "By the seven moons," whispered Communications Officer Veltar, her crystalline features pale with terror. "That's a human ship." The bridge fell silent. Every species in the known galaxy had heard the stories. The whispered warnings passed between. Star systems like ghost tailies around dying campfires. Humans, the species that had emerged from a death world so hostile that most civilizations couldn't survive there for a single rotation. The species that had somehow turned their planet's attempts to kill them into evolutionary advantages. Zixath's forearms trembled as he activated the communication array. "Human vessel, this is Kepler Station. We ... We appreciate your response to our distress call, but we must inform you that this system is under siege by the Drakmar Hive. Perhaps it would be wise to negative Kepler Station." The voice that crackled through the speakers was calm, almost casual. "This is Captain Sarah Chin of the U.E.'s Defiance. We received your beacon. What's your situation?" Before Zixath could respond, proximity alarms shrieked across the bridge. Through the viewport, the nightmare unfolded again, hundreds of Drakmar bioships swarming like insects, their chitinous hulls gleaming with acid secretions that could dissolve any known alloy. The same ships that had already consumed 3 worlds in this system. "Captain Chun," Zixath's voice cracked, "there are over 200 enemy vessels. Your single ship cannot." "Copy that, Ambassador. 200 hostiles. We'll handle it." Veltar's translator struggled with the human term that followed something that roughly meant a situation requiring immediate and overwhelming violence. The human ship, impossibly small compared to the Drakmar swarm, began moving toward the enemy formation. What happened next would be discussed in galactic military academies for centuries. The Defiance didn't employ energy shields like civilized species. Instead, it simply ... endured. Drakmar acid struck its hull and was absorbed by some impossible metal that actually grew stronger under chemical attack. Bioplasma that could vaporize a Centaurian dreadnought merely caused the human ship's hull to glow cherry red before cooling, but it was the human weapons that truly defied comprehension. "Those are kinetic projectiles," Veltar whispered in disbelief. "They're throwing metal slugs. Not just any metal slugs. Depleted uranium shells fired at relativistic speeds, each one carrying the kinetic energy of a small nuclear weapon. The first volley punched through 17 Drakmar ships in a perfect line. The projectiles maintained their trajectory even after impact. The Drakmar, predators who had consumed civilizations across 3 galactic arms, found themselves facing something they had never encountered. A species that had evolved not just to survive, but to wage war with a creativity born of desperation. The Defiance dove into the swarm's heart, its pilot executing maneuvers that should have liquefied any biological crew under gravitational forces that exceeded most species' structural limits. But humans, it seemed, had evolved on a world where such forces were commonplace. How are they alive? Veltar gasped, watching the human ship pull 40G turns while maintaining fire dot, as if hearing her question. Captain Chun's voice came through. "The come? Inertial dampeners are for species that didn't evolve in a gravity well, folks. We just ... lean into it." The battle became a lesson in applied physics and evolutionary biology, where other species had developed beyond their violent past. Humans had refined theirs. Every weapon they deployed told a story of a species that had spent millennia finding new ways to kill each other, then turned that expertise outward. Missile pods released thousands of self-guided projectiles that hunted Drakmar bioships with predatory intelligence. Point defense systems tracked targets with accuracy that suggested humans had once needed to hit fast-moving prey to survive. And when the Drakmar attempted their signature tactic ramming enemy vessels with expendable bioships, they discovered that humans had apparently invented ramming first and perfected it. The Defiance met a charging bioship head-on. It's reinforced. Proud design not to deflect impact, but to channel it. The Drachmer vessel crumpled like paper while the human ship shrugged off the collision and continued firing. Within 37 minutes, the space around Kepler 442b was filled with drifting biomatter and debris. The Drachmer swarm, which had terrorized this sector for months, was gone. Kepler Station, this is Captain Chun. Hostiles neutralized. Do you require medical assistance? Zixath stared at the tactical display, unable to process what he'd witnessed. A single human ship had accomplished what the combined fleets of 6 allied species had deemed impossible. Captain Chun, he managed. How ... How did you... We're persistence hunters, Ambassador. There was something in the human's voice, not pride, but a quiet acknowledgement of an uncomfortable truth. On our world, when prey runs, we follow. When it fights, we fight harder. When it adapts, we adapt faster. The Drachmer made one mistake. What mistake? They thought they were the predators. As the Defiance prepared to depart, Zixath found himself reconsidering everything the galaxy thought it knew about the species from Sol 3. They had answered a distress call that every allied fleet had deemed too dangerous to attempt. They had faced impossible odds with casual determination. Most disturbing of all, they had made it look easy. Captain Chun, he called out, why did you come? Your government had no treaty obligations to this system. The pause was brief. When Chun spoke again, her voice carried the weight of something ancient and immutable. Because you called for help, Ambassador. That's what humans do. The Defiance vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind a system in awe and a galaxy that would never again mistake humanity's compassion for weakness. They had learned the fundamental truth about the species from the Death World. Humans didn't fight because they were the most feared species in the galaxy. They were the most feared species in the galaxy because they fought for others.